Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, so I've had a bit of a recovery day now after unloading the last pod, and the next thing I gotta start really getting serious about now is getting a job. So today is going to be kind of preparation work for that. I'm more of a jeans and a t-shirt kind of guy than dress slacks and a nice shirt. But I do have some of those, but they're still packed up, and they've been in a box for, in some cases months. So I want to get them out, get them unpacked, and get them ironed and looking good for interviews and the likes. Now the problem is I didn't find the iron when I was unloading the pods. I marked all the boxes, but I didn't actually mark it with every single thing that was in it, and I didn't find anything that specifically said iron. So I think I'm just going to break down and go out and buy a new iron. But before I do that, I do have a little mini ironing board that I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find quickly in the storage locker. So I'm going to run over to do that, and then we're going to run over to Walmart and find myself an iron. By the way, we're going to iron that too, so people stop thinking it's painted on bricks, because it isn't. It's just not very flat right now. So let's go. You may remember that a few weeks ago I told you that they were repainting this whole place. Well, yesterday they came in and they painted my front door. Now, if any of you know how doors are done on the outside, there's usually like a little insulation seal along the edges to kind of keep air leaks from leaking in. Well, when they painted the door the other day, they didn't bother to open up the door. They just painted right up to the edge of where that weather stripping is. And so when you open up the door, there's like a ½ inch gap all the way around the edges where you have the old color of the paint. Sorry, man, but that's not how it's done. So I did dig into the storage locker to see if I could find the ironing board, but I was unable to do so. I thought maybe it was going to be right on the surface, right on top of something, but apparently it was small enough that I could fit it into one of the boxes. It's probably in the same box as the iron itself. So instead of digging open every box and trying to figure out where it is, I just went out and bought a new one, and so I got that at the same time as we got the iron. So one of the first things I did was re-iron this flag that's been hanging behind me that everyone thought looked like it was painted on bricks. So it's not perfect yet, but it looks a lot better than it did. See what I mean? That looks pretty good, right? Still a few little lines down the lower left-hand corner there, but I'm guessing that gravity will deal with that over time. So my priority today is to get my resume updated and uploaded onto the Texas Workforce Commission website. Basically, Texas really goes out of their way to help you find a job if you're looking for one. And you know what? I'm going to take advantage of that if it's there. It seems a lot of what they're doing is hiring for either federal or state jobs versus actually private sector jobs. But it looks like there's some private sector jobs there too. So I'm going to try and look at that. And the truth is, I'm not maybe against the idea of going and working for the state. I don't think I want to work for the federal government. That's too unstable and up and down, depending on who gets in office. But a state job, maybe, should be good money and, provide me a decent income and be relatively stable. So let's check that out. So fortunately, I've been a computer nerd for many, many years and have basically every resume I've ever written for every job I've ever applied for. So hopefully this will be easy, just kind of a mix and match them of different resumes and kind of turn them into a Franken resume that kind of applies to what's going on right now. Now, a couple years ago, I created two kind of just generic resumes for myself. One that had that kind of focused on my technical background, and the other that was more on a management standpoint and focused on that as a priority. So I think that's probably the best place to start for me. And what I'm going to do is, I still got to update some of this stuff because, the address is different, the email is different, some of the dates and stuff like that have changed since then. Since I originally wrote that. So I think I'm going to start with those, and we're going to update them with the most current information, and we'll go from there. Alright, so that took a little while to get pieced together and get updated. At the end of the day, I kind of decided I wanted to redo it in a different program. It was originally done in Microsoft Word, and Microsoft Word can be a challenge sometimes when you're trying to get something to look exactly the way you want it to. It can screw things up on margins and bullet items and stuff like that. So I just decided to move it over to Microsoft Publisher, which I have a lot of experience with, and that works really well for me. I was then able to output it to a PDF, and I got a PDF document now that's ready to go. So let's upload it to the Texas Workforce Commission website and see where that takes us. Alright, so I've spent a whole bunch of time entering all the information I need, updating my resume, updating all the current information that needs to be plugged in there, and so it's just kind of a waiting game right now. I do see that there's a couple of like seminars and job fairs that they've made available to me, including one starting on Monday, so I think I'm going to probably start attending those, as, you know, because if nothing else, it just benefits me a lot to get them to know who I am and know that I'm looking for something out there. And sometimes it's just easier to find a person a job when you know them and are working with them and trying to help them. So, you know, if I can get them to help learn who I am, I think that will improve my chances. So that is what I'm going to do for now. As always, thank you for watching. Keep your fingers crossed for me getting a good job, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.